I'm having a tough day, guys.
Oh man, I'm sorry. What's going on, Josh?
Well, we're in Florida to see my family for Thanksgiving, and it's only 62 degrees. We didn't even go to the beach today, Seth. I barely saw the sun. It drizzled lightly when we were overlooking the bay, and
Oh,
I don't know. I'm thinking I might have to put on a jacket for this evening, and I'm just having a really hard time with all of that.
sounds really hard.
It is really hard. How's Minnesota?
I think it's like 15 degrees out right now.
Oh, well, I mean, at this point, what's the difference, right? I mean, if I can't, skies out, thighs out. I mean, I am wearing shorts. Let's not get ridiculous, but I mean, we're just all going through some really difficult things right now. Nate, is Kansas City temperature wise? You got sleeves on, it looks like.
Let me tell you this, buddy. You chose the exact moment to get out of town. It's like legitimately cold for once.
Yeah, it is. No, I listen, Nate. I know it's 60 degrees in Florida. I mean, it is freezing.
It is quite the same here, bud. Cool. Looks at my phone. 33 degrees.
Ooh,
how's that doing it for you?
Hey, Renee, can you open the window? Only with games.
This is KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank.
Sorry, Nate. What was that? It's what now?
I think we've gotten even up to 36.
Look at that.
We're 36 degrees.
You could put ice outside and it would melt eventually. That's great.
Now, I know people need to do this because if we didn't do this as a community, it would no longer exist. Am I going to see Tech 9? No. No, it's too cold. And if you don't know what I'm referring to, ladies and gentlemen, it is the annual Plaza Lights. Turn those suckers on, Tech 9. So, Tech 9's reached this place that I didn't think was possible for him 15 years ago. Not just to cross over into more mainstream pools, but yeah, he's now performed at halftime of very important Chiefs games, and he's turning on the Plaza Lights, Seth. We used to hold that for a time that was, not that long ago. Back when this man was on the most enjoyable experience of his career. One could say he was in MVP discussions. That's right, kids. Back in the day, we used to let quarterbacks like Alex Smith turn the lights on.
That's right.
Now the Plaza Lights are not a big enough deal for the guy who's the most talented player in the sport. So, it's one of my favorite parts of, by the way, the quick sign.
It's weird that Justin Watson isn't willing to
turn him on.
Yeah.
Who would be the most comical player they could ask to turn the Plaza
today? MVS, hands down. Like, I mean, that's not even a question.
Yes, that's hands down, obviously.
that poor man. Oh God. Yeah.
Nate, who do you think the first player down the pecking order would be who would say yes to doing it? Like, you start with Mahomes, Travis Kelce will not be there. How far do you think you could go? Chris Jones was a no.
I would think Isaiah Pacheco that's
a great one.
Because he's from New Jersey and he's used to these cold. Conditions.
I really thought we were doing like some kind of bit on New Jersey. It's like, he's from New Jersey, they'll say yes to anything. I was like,
true,
really?
Very true.
I didn't know that caricature. Like, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think Willie Gay would do a great job with it. Like, there would just be so much energy, they could plug it right into him. But Mississippi, so that's a great point.
That doesn't
work. Isaiah Pacheco's the one.
Nick Bolton could do it and make sure that everyone's standing where they ought to be.
Everybody pre-snap. Everybody good pre-flicker. Pre-flicker on. Are we good? Did you get the call?
Lean over, tapping the right side of someone's butt because they got to move over.
Move over. Yeah. Get in the B gap. So, look, yes, did Tyler Palco turn the lights on? Sadly, he didn't last long enough. But the reason why I say this is because one of the best parts of Kingdom quarterback is the entire chapter on, Alex Smith was having an MVP season. So good that the height of Alex Smith's time as a Chiefs quarterback was literally turning the Plaza lights on. He lost his job 3 months later. So look, now we have these things for Tech 9. And of course, Marquez Valdez-Scantling on the most grateful, thankful days of the year had to chat with our beloved friend Matt Derrick about why he dropped that pass, y'all. Why he dropped it. So this is my recommendation to Chiefs Digest with our lovely friend Matt Derrick, who spent his Thanksgiving
Prince of a guy.
Who somehow actively chose to spend his Thanksgiving interviewing MVS as to like, hey man, what you gonna do? How you living? What are you thankful for?
That is the most Matt Derrick story that I've ever heard in a series of Matt Derrick. Like, seriously, like, in case people think, because we're sarcastic a lot here, Matt Derrick is just the nicest guy. Like, he makes Nate look kind of like a jerk. And you got to understand how nice a human you have to be to make Nate. Like,
I would say at the very least, there's a legitimate competition amongst Chiefs beat writers for nicest person. And if you know that Nate has competition, or frankly, that Matt has competition. I don't mean to exclude anybody. I'm just picking. We've got 2 to start with here. It's a very nice group.
All I'm saying is, if I walk to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, maybe he says no. Now, I'll give him credit. He did talk to me after their loss to the Denver Broncos, but he couldn't say no to Matt Derrick. No. Even on Thanksgiving, I don't want to be a prick. So yeah, let's have a quick therapy session so that I can be back to normal, back to reboot, restart, little in the cartridge for Marquez Valdez-Scantling before Chiefs Raiders.
Hey, listen, we're here. You guys have both written about, let me check my notes again, the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers and the issues with getting deep shots completed and the offense being not quite what we expected it to be. That's wild, guys. This is a brand new storyline. But you have both done new things on it, and we'll get to the defense, and I'm looking ahead to Chiefs Raiders a little bit because it's kind of maybe it's just because I, turn into a puff of smoke on Wednesday evening to get out here, but it's kind of it feels like a very quiet Raiders week. Again, Thanksgiving week. And again, I wasn't as plugged into all the pressers and everything. And now it's like Max Crosby, probably not, which takes out maybe the most exciting individual storyline of this game, vis-a-vis waking up the wrong or right mother bleeper. But with that being said, we'll get around to that here in a little bit. Let's start with where the wide receivers have left us so far. Nate, I'm going to start with you before we dive into all of Seth's details on the deep pass. What has it been like as you've been out there for media this week, and this being the storyline that you can't really here's my little struggle. It's like I tweeted it out, not a joke about MVS, just a stat comparing his season to Alan Lazard, who was a healthy scratch for the Jets today. It's like, man, Alan Lazard, what a terrible contract and a terrible season. And his season has been, production-wise, MVS's season. It's like 1-to-1. It's crazy. I don't feel good about my hands down joke from earlier. Like, it feels kind of like kicking somebody when they're down a little bit. A well-compensated professional, but still, it's not. I don't feel great about it.
Yeah.
But Nate, the whole team knows this has been a nightmare in terms of where the receivers have stood lately. What has it been like? And then when you sat down to write about the obvious facts of the matter, what was that process leading you to?
Yeah, it was something where I appreciate being, transparent, and I hope our listeners and our viewers appreciate it. But like, everybody watched that game on Monday, guys. And I mean, everybody, the highest rated game of the season by a wide margin, to where my boss's boss was like, I think we got to write about these drops. So look, man, when Steven Ginsburg's like, hey, dude, I'm on my couch, and why are they dropping the football? It does make the next day story a little bit easier. Now, one of the things that you notice this week is the Chiefs are trying to keep everything as similar or as same as possible, right? That is one of the benefits of having Andy Reid as your coach. You don't overemphasize things when things go wrong. You don't necessarily underemphasize things when everything's going right. So they've tried to keep a decent amount of levity to all of this, while understanding that, like, yeah, you got to get more repetitions. Matt Nagy sort of alluded to the fact that, hey, maybe guys are going to stay a little bit later after practice. I actually saw that today. I actually saw Patrick Mahomes with his receivers on the field. And so practice was done. Guys can go through their individual drills. They could go have a conversation with a coach or two about a certain, aspect of the game plan coming up. Hey, when they do this, what should I do here? Hey, I just want to double check some things because, part of the collective bargaining agreement, we only get 2 hours and 25 minutes to be out here. So even though this isn't a rep, I just want to ask you before we go into like team meetings or obviously guys get ready for the weekend.
Ask if they're playing middle field closed with a single high safety, whether you should actually run the post or straighten it out into keep it up as it go. Things like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why this is the Best Chiefs podcast, because Seth was leaving, and yet he knows how to adjust on the fly, perhaps better than some of the Chiefs receivers.
I know how to recognize it sitting from my couch.
Yeah.
Very different things.
Now, I want you to be clear, ladies and gentlemen, that we've been podcasting since 2019. So we have our chemistry. We have things really down. We know what the audience / defense wants. And we're quick to pivot and adjust to those things. But yeah, you can have another conversation about like, hey, if Marcus Peters does this, I should probably do. Yep, that's right. Okay, just wanted to double check.
Double moves, baby.
Before we get out there. So, yeah. Pass law, yeah. When Dan Orlovsky's putting your business out there to everybody on NFL Live, and when Andy Reid tried his best on Wednesday to be like, well, he could have flattened it out a bit more, which is that's as sharp a criticism as Andy Reid is ever going to give to a player on a live mic in front of reporters. He could have flattened it out. He could have flattened it out. Stop asking me that question. So it's been an unusual week just because they know that they probably should have won Monday night. You are on a short week against your arch rival who seems to have life. They're not dead on the machine.
They beat the New York teams, but that counts for something. I remember a Chiefs team that couldn't beat either of the New York teams, so I've been there.
Also during the greatest year in Alex Smith's career. Just what a time. Great reference, Mr. Brisco. So
I'm still hurt by that.
What you realize is that their issues are both so easy to explain, like Dan Orlovsky showed us, or like Seth alluded to earlier, not doing what the quarterback actually wants you to do. It's also the thing that, like, as I said in the last episode, they have a drill preparing themselves for these drops. They have to get to a point to where they are not only in time with Mahomes in terms of their rhythm, but they have to just concentrate on like making sure they secure the catch before doing anything else. And I think that's where a lot of their drops have come from. That's what I tried to write, at a decent manner in The Athletic earlier this week. But Marquez Valdes-Scantling saying that, hey, I've been in those positions before. I'll be in those positions again. Again, this is him talking to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. True. But you know who I think is going to play on Sunday, Josh? Who might take snaps away from Marquez Valdes-Scantling?
We're getting the Richie James experience.
Guys, the break in case of emergency is literally Richie James.
Because McCole Hardman's out and Jerick McKinnon is out. That's the official.
And Kadarius Toney is incapable of running a 9 route.
Sorry. I missed. So McCole Hardman's out with a thumb. Jerick McKinnon's out. I actually don't remember what Jerick McKinnon's injury designation is because I just assumed it's a half body. Yeah, old.
It's a groin. It's a strained groin. He stretched and it hurt. That's
tomato.
Yes. Yeah, he's like me in the morning. Ooh,
yeah.
Whoa. Let me slow down. Let me slow down. Okay.
So McKinnon's out with the groin, Hardman's out with the sprained thumb, and it sounded like it could be more than just this week for him. Thank God that compensatory pick won't be a part of our lives. And Kadarius Toney is out, just parentheses, distrust. is what it says.
Grudge.
Now,
And
Andy Reid
Rashee
grudge.
Rice is out, cannot target beyond 5 yards.
He's got like a limiter on, you know how like some of those trucks are like can only go 55 miles an hour. Rashee Rice can only go 7 yards downfield.
Yep. Well, it's like the reverse of the movie Speed. You know, where you couldn't, don't you drive that bus any slower than 55, Sandra Bullock. Let Keanu Reeves save you.
I mean, prime Sandra Bullock. I mean, child, I would have done things. So, and
a child.
The best part is when they think they're going to run over a baby in a stroller, and it's all the recyclable cans of Los Angeles, all of them.
It's just cans. The first time I saw it, I was like, wow, that was a dark turn there. Like, you really wanted to earn that R rating, huh? Like,
yeah. It's
gracious.
a Sandra Bullock's losing her mind, because understandably, and the best part is Keanu Reeves having to remind her, you can't slow down. like I know you almost just killed a child, but you can't slow down. You cannot slow down.
Okay, the other side of this is the idea that they're driving through city blocks in Los Angeles 55 miles an hour and not killing anyone. You couldn't drive 55 miles an hour through Park Rapids, Minnesota without killing someone. Like, there's no way. Drive 40 something. Well, okay, no, I'm not encouraging you to break the law. Imagine as you drive on a road where the speed limit's 25, imagine if you were going time and a half that or twice that speed, people would die. But anyway, I'm sorry. The Rashee Rice thing, you know, of the passes 30 yards in the air, all 26 of them, you know, one to Rashee Rice, one time. His average depth of target, not just yards in the air, past the line of scrimmage in college, 14 yards. So probably more about 20 yards in the air. But it's cool. He probably doesn't know how. He actually, you remember in Field of Dreams?
Oh, yes.
Where once they got to the, wait, just wait. And he runs to the chalk lines, drops his glove and looks down. And the music is playing and he knows if he crosses that line, he's going to get this close to his dream again, this close. And then he does it because, you know, a kid was dying. Actually, he hesitated a little longer than I'm comfortable with. It's like, dude, like, okay, I get it, but come on.
The hot dog. Somebody else couldn't have given her the Heimlich. You didn't have to do surgery.
That is
you have to give her a tracheotomy.
There's a lot of questions there about this. Like, this child's choking death. It's like no one else could have figured that out.
Yeah, somebody else want to just pop her in the sternum and
no, everyone else, wait. Like, and then, huh? And then she waits. If I said wait to my wife, she would ignore me completely and run. And while she calls 911, start loading up a pistol to come shoot me when she gets back for saying something stupid. But anyway, the reason I give this analogy, because apparently Rashee Rice, if he runs that far down the field, will just turn into an old doctor or something. The analogy fell apart at the end.
No,
but I just
it was kind of
yeah,
it was a joyride, a literal joyride.
The rest of the time, it really made sense. But I just, anyway, I'm sorry, Nate. You were talking.
No,
I'm so frustrated after watching those snaps and taking really precise, good notes on them.
No, Seth, I want to know before you get to your stats on this deep ball. I guess the Chiefs need to realize if they can't complete a deep ball against the Raiders, that team bus is going to run over a baby in a stroller. Like, that won't be a can. That won't be a can. That won't be a stroller full of recyclable cans, guys. You'll kill a baby if you can't get Patrick Mahomes to throw it and complete a deep ball against the Raiders. You know, the team he's done it to the most. You know, the team where last year they were like, okay, if we win today, we win the 1 seed. Cool. Justin Watson, I'm gonna throw you the ball in your hands 50 yards downfield on the first drive, on which they scored a touchdown, and then the game was over. We could have just called it in.
They had an insurmountable 7-point lead.
Yes. So if you can't complete a deep ball on, again, inserts notes, the Las Vegas Raiders, then I'm fearing the baby and the mother's life, honestly. But
they'll back up to make sure they hit the mom. Like, I gotta say, Nate, that out of context, that quote, well, even in context, if you don't complete this, you will kill a baby. It's like,
maybe in terms of concentration issues, somebody's got to say it. All right,
you better focus. There's a
So speaking of concentration issues, I before we get into the notes itself, Seth, you got absolutely cooked yesterday. I didn't realize what I was leading you into with your legal pad and the margins and everything. It was brutal. You were like a baby in a stroller behind the speed bus, or in front of the speed bus. And I felt a little bit bad because I've seen the completed notes. So if I give you like 5 seconds to defend yourself, will you do good work with that?
Yes, absolutely. So the long and short
Let's take a break.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network. Make sure you download our new app. Find it on the App Store or Google Play. Just search KC Sports Network.
Does he not see it coming? How? I mean, how does he not see it coming? Guys, Josh is on a historic pace. I mean, this is like the Warriors when they were, 73-9. I mean, how do you stop him?
I thought he was gonna get. I thought for sure.
I thought he was gonna get it too.
Coming, yes. But I knew once I made it a chance for him to defend himself about a practice. I knew his eyes were dinner plates.
Oh God!
Incredible. And Tucker was so ready. He was just like, hand over the button. He's like, oh, I'm gonna hit this button so fast. This is like that one announcer with the NBA that was ready with the bang. He was right there with it.
That was our LeBron Dwayne Wade alley-oop arms out moment.
You were on
Thank you, Tucker.
An unbelievable heater right now, like the likes of which I cannot recall. This is like the second quarter of Chiefs versus Texans in the 2019 playoffs, where you just can't do anything wrong. You've got Dan Sorensen making play. You've got like every play call's working. Guys are fumbling on the kickoff. You're just steamrolling.
Don't ever forget that. In a stadium surrounded by the most please Lord let us win fans. With the ball in his hand, Darwin Thompson said, "Oh, I can run with this," and everybody's like, "Yes."
He gestures at the tight end to block, and the tight end's like, "What you think I'm doing, man? Like you think you gotta tell me?"
Dan Sorensen just gave you the football on a ridiculous
he could have scored,
like on a ridiculous kickoff return, and Darwin Thompson's like, "I can run."
No, block that guy. Thank you, Darwin Thompson.
Everybody's like, "Run, Darwin! You have the ball."
Run. Yeah. Now, if people want to check out what happened with the notepad, you can check it out on Twitter. Josh quote tweeted me because when I take notes, I take, even other attorneys actually tease me a little bit because I take really copious notes during hearings. And a lot of that is actually for sad reasons if we went down a hill there or down the road there. But like, let's
pull that one back. Let's just reel that
one
real quick.
But like, it's just, I really want to always know exactly what happened in the hearing because I don't necessarily feel like I'm that much sharper than any other attorney. But one thing I'm good at is I do prep and I take good notes. So it's like, well, the judge said we got it. I'm like, oh, really? Are you sure? Because flip, page 9. Actually, what he said was, and that is, there are very few moments any attorneys we have watching are just like, oh, it's just delicious. It's like, actually, your client was ordered to do this. So stop telling me what the judge said, or I'm going to put a pen through your eye. But you don't actually
say that if you're a lawyer. That part's
no,
fine,
yeah, you're
right?
not allowed to. Yeah. But no, I filled out just you. Yeah, I'd filled out the left side and I was just showing people the preview product because I needed to write notes about each play. So there's this massive blank space to the right side. And oh my goodness. So Josh, you quote tweeted it and I just I laughed for a long time reading the replies. I mean, I was getting cooked. It was the best one. Someone said, well, and my handwriting's not great. And the best one of all of those was someone said, you write like a dyslexic child writing with his non-dominant hand.
Jeez, God.
Wow. Holy
My favorite one, shout out to Blake, was just, this is an illegal pad. That one has stuck with me. That one stuck with me.
Oh, but it was worth it in the end. And
yeah,
guys, I need a pat on the back. I wrote, I reviewed every deep shot that Chiefs had taken, ball in the air 30 yards, which means, it might only be 20 yards past line scrimmage or 25, but ball in the air from Mahomes' hand to where it landed. And I named it Deep Trouble, reviewing every deep pass attempt. I mean, come on, Deep Trouble. Right. That's good, right?
It's fantastic.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're welcome. Learn how to write.
Oh, do you want me to talk about it now?
No, I just want you to just put the. All I really want, Seth, is I read the story. People can read the story. I just want you to put the numbers on the left side of the red line and then everything else on the right side of the red line.
You just want me to stop writing like a psychopath? And
it's just that you do the parentheses for the numbers. It's just like, well, it's
right.
Part of the work is there for you.
Look, we're in the mailroom. You're Charlie Day. I know Carol's not in HR. I see where the lines are going. I just need you to connect the dots, Seth. Why is there no Carol in HR, and why can't complete a deep pass?
So the Chiefs have not completed a pass 30 yards in the air or more since their matchup against Denver in the first quarter.
Ooh.
Before that, their last one was against Minnesota. They actually started off in the year a little bit better.
Okay.
But it's been, I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different attempts. Incompletes. I mean, these are the notes. Watson flattens rather than pylon. Drop, perfect throw. That's the Sky Moore one. MVS, desperate heave. MVS gets muscled. It was pass interference, but good Lord, man. Watson, incomplete, not on the same page. MVS can't haul in. Okay throw. Not a great throw, but an okay one. Watson moves inside rather than deep. MVS spins. It's bad, man. It's a bloodbath. And
So, Seth, did you see the play? I just want to ask you a question. Did you see on the All-22 where they had Kadarius Toney in a spot next to Patrick Mahomes, kind of Deebo Samuel-like? He ran a wheel route, and he could have kept running. Your thoughts?
Football's hard.
Oh.
I understand. There are reasons why there are trust issues with the young guys.
Kadarius Toney thought he should have got the ball. That's the best part. That's the best part of the All-22 is him visibly being like, they finally let me run a route that lets me go a little bit farther than I feel comfortable with, or that they've ever let me. Well, I want the ball. I want the ball.
Yeah, throw me the ball. That I would have loved to see them go after him. I would love to see. He actually got missed on the middle of the field on a deep shot to Sky Moore that was more of a scramble drill play, and he was running a dig across the middle, and he was kind of open. Here's the deal, though. I mean, the most telling thing to me with this whole thing is that, I mean, when you look at the numbers in total, the vast majority of these deep shots have gone to Justin Watson. And then after him is MVS, who has half.
Let's just pick a couple of your lesson takeaways here, because you're tiptoeing to it, and I think your actual just slap of a takeaway are crushing, devastating, and excellent.
I'll give you the biggest takeaway I would take is, other than, I think losing Juju Smith-Schuster has been damaging for the offense, simply because, I always talk about the roller coaster theory on the NFL. Like, you must be this tall to ride the roller coaster. And the Chiefs really tested out the limits of the roller coaster theory with last year's group. But it worked overall with Juju, someone they trust, and then MVS to stretch the field. Nearly as devastating. I would call it like the 1 and the 1A thing. The number one thing, I think they missed Juju, a guy they trust. He had a lot more targets than people realize in games he was healthy, and in pretty big spots too. And then those targets, that bumps everyone else down.
Yep.
In the notch. Like that slant that Justin Watson dropped, that's Juju last year. Could be Rashee Rice or Kadarius Toney this year, but whatever, because it's just a slant. I mean, whatever. The 1A thing.
Josh is stabbing himself. For our audience.
Yeah. The
our
1A
is I wish our audio audience could hear this podcast, but Josh has committed murder against himself.
I'll do more Foley work.
The 1A thing, though, I really think that has been almost as big a deal, and this was the first kind of big takeaway I got, is that MVS taking a step back this year from what he did last year. Because last year, him and Mahomes weren't always on the same page, but they were more often. And that was all you needed from him, was to hit a big play every other game, or 2 plays every other game. 150-yarder, in week 1 against the Lions, hit that big play down the field. Mm-hmm. And early in the season, they hit a couple of those with MVS and a couple with Watson. And that's where, like, against Minnesota, against Denver the first time around, against LA even a little, teams were still playing a lot of too high stuff because they're like, man, they're still going deep. And then as those started to fade away, teams started playing more and more aggressive. And it culminated in that second half against Philly. There's a reason they took like 4 or 5 deep shots against Philly in the second half, because Philly was daring them to do it. And those were the shots they hit last year. Cincinnati in the AFC Championship, they hit those shots. And MVS taking that step back in consistency has hurt very nearly as much as Juju being out. That was the first thing. And then the second thing, whichever thing you want to talk about, is they're asking Justin Watson to be, because MVS, I think, has taken that step back. So now they're trying to have Justin Watson fill that role, and he's not that guy. He's not. He's the once every 3 games guy. And asking him to do it a couple times a game, he's punching out of his weight class. I don't blame him, but they're just asking him to do things that he's not capable of. But that's the one thing that I realize is that for as much as the statistics weren't huge, MVS was being at least a certain level, the roller coaster level last year, was much more important to the offense than even I realized. And the reason I say even I isn't because I'm so smart, but because I talked about it a lot. But even I didn't realize just how important it was. And I think that's what's showing up. And I expect teams to, dialing up cover 0 against the Chiefs after 2019, or like the first few games of 2020. Remember 2020 when he just shredded Baltimore doing that? Since then, no one even tries it. The Eagles went for it. Now teams like, oh, holy cow, there's blood in the water, man. And so until they start hitting those over the top, you're going to see that. And you're also going to see Travis Kelce putting up small stat lines because they are flooding the areas underneath.
That part is also just so hard to watch. We talked about this last week because you've written about it several times, but or I guess we talked about it on Tuesday, maybe, whatever. The inability for anyone else to just even demand like a glance outside of Travis Kelce and the intermediate stuff is so, like, watching 3 guys converge around Travis Kelce is I think actually probably, in my mind, the best symptom that something is fundamentally broken. Because the logic of like, oh, well, it's going to be Mahomes and Travis Kelce and then a bunch of dudes. And if they do put all this attention on Kelce, somebody is going to hurt him, because maybe we're spreading that talent a little thinner, but somebody's going to be there. And to your point, Seth, the Eagles game feels kind of like whatever the inverse of a proof of concept is. It's the proof of a failing concept. And I don't know. Again, people should read along and get more of the details from the story in the Chief of the North newsletter, which probably have a dumb sale now or soon. I don't know. Maybe it does already. I'm not on Twitter right now.
It does. I just want to let everyone know in Chiefs Kingdom that everyone thinks that they have the best mom, but mine's the best. Hi, Mom. She was putting something away. So
I heard the and it kind of made the episode if people are with us right now. You know what can help make this all better, Josh?
I'd love to know. Alcohol
that too. Is Max Crosby deciding not to play on Sunday?
Yeah. Max, you guys aren't going to make the playoffs. Just chill, dude. You're a great player. You don't need to
go get coffee with Spags while they're in town and just, I don't know, have a talk about what life could be like. Just if
right. If he ever wants to understand that knee troubles only get better with time off, then he should take that advice. Max Crosby is doubtful for Sunday's game because of a knee injury. As I've said last year, and you could say that less so this season, but I've always said that, man, Max Crosby is one of the 10 best defensive players in the league, because I don't know anybody else on the Raiders. At least this year they have Robert Spillane and Marcus Peters and functional NFL players, which was not the case the past 2 years. Poor Josh McDaniels. Why did I just say that? Because I don't believe it.
Not at all.
But if Max Crosby is not going to be the one that's applying pressure, and he did a very good job last year doing that, in particular in the first matchup in Kansas City, then maybe Patrick Mahomes scrambling, buying time will lead to more open receivers downfield, because he doesn't feel the amount of pressure as usual. Now, as Seth said earlier, with a cat that doesn't know it's on incredibly live coverage.
This is Callie. She's a very, very sweet cat. Here,
Callie. Okay. Hold Callie up like Simba, would you please?
Oh, I can't. She's gone now. She'll now that I want to do something. She's a cat, you know.
Yeah.
Now that I want to do something,
it's over. Like, it's
before
over.
she's like, "Oh, this looks like something I could interrupt." It's kind of.
All I've said is that if Max Crosby's not there, and let's say Patrick uses his legs to get out of the pocket, give himself a few seconds for his receivers to get open, maybe somebody downfield, maybe someone downfield not named Marcus Alden-Scantling or Justin Watson, then that might, incentivize the Raiders to blitz more, which is where things get really, really interesting because the Raiders are not afraid to come after people. But they're also understanding that like they kind of have to do that because they need to win with scheme and a little bit of a surprise element versus just playing straight cover 3 and keeping everything in front of you and beating the living hell out of you like poor Geno Smith. Okay, can I real quick? Geno Smith, ladies and gentlemen, went from saying "Oh my God" about Aaron Donald to Aaron Donald actually hitting this man in a way that is almost not legislated in the game anymore, but there was nothing he could do because he got there in 2 seconds. I kept rewatching that. I know someone has mentioned cocaine earlier. There's nothing like a cocaine. Thanks, White Bacon. There's nothing like a cocaine bump than when Red Zone shows an assault in real time. And so, because Drew Lock's Drew Lock, Geno Smith's got to come back out there 4 days later to get chased around by Nick Bosa.
It's not right.
All they do is play a cover 3, and every time I throw the football, Javarius Ward's right there. This isn't fair. You're not scoring 20 today. You're not scoring 20 today, Geno. Your arm's hurt. Your offensive line is not great. And it's just one amazing pass rusher after another in a 5-day stretch. It's just miserable. But yeah, the Raiders can't do that. Even though they play a similar type scheme, their cover 3 is not the 49ers cover 3, kids. It's not.
Well, let's talk more about where the Raiders could maybe help the Chiefs get right in a couple of spots and what we expect to see from the Chiefs defense. But first, we go live to our DraftKings correspondent, Tucker Thanksgiving Franklin. The D stands for Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Joshua, as always. And yes, there's so much to be thankful for. Family, friends, food, and the NFL football action all week long. DraftKings Sportsbook is keeping your Thanksgiving week full of action, and new customers can bet just $5 on NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. No matter your appetite, there's something for you. Money lines, parlays, props, live bets, and so much more. You name it, they've got it at DraftKings Sportsbook. Chiefs 8.5-point favorites against the Las Vegas Raiders on the road. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. New customers can bet $5 on the NFL action to score $150 instantly in bonus bets. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL with code KCSN. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gaming resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Back to you, Josh.
Tucker, I am thankful for you. Thank you, as always. You said 8.5 there, and I think I knew that was the line, and I still went, oh, God, 8.5. This team is at least 10 points better than, well, are they going to score? How's this going to go? So I went through a weird
not in the second half.
Definitely not in the second half. No,
they just got to start scoring like 30 in the first half.
What if they had a first 60? Like
that really is it. It's like, Andy, can't you just call some of the same stuff? Does it always have to be different plays? Like, oh man, that looked dialed up 22 yards in the first quarter. Try it again. See what happens. Like you did corn dog twice in a row, like 3 plays apart, and the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, That's like Andy in the Super Bowl is like, guys, they don't know how to cover this. We're going to do the same thing. And you're not going to believe this, but Sky's going to be even more open.
More open. Yeah.
Andy, that's impossible. No, they have no idea how to cover it. Andy, no, seriously. And then they did it. Why can't you do that? Or when Isaiah Pacheco runs for 9 yards, it's like, you know what? I don't think they've got the horses to do this. And they showed a little of that a few times in a few games against the Eagles, of all things.
Hey, Seth, you're going to get third down Clyde Edwards-Helaire snaps on Sunday, baby. Third down.
Well, hey, you know
Clyde
what?
Edwards-Helaire.
I've got a theory on Clyde. Do you want to hear it?
Sure.
Clyde, much like myself, looks like he is playing at a heavier weight than he was this time last year. Now, I could be wrong because he's carrying it very differently than I do. All right, Clyde, I'm not serious.
All thighs and hips, baby. All thighs and hips. Maybe a glute honestly, or two.
With just the way he's never going to be a guy with enough burst. Convert to a power back, because I don't know about you, but the number of times I've watched Clyde carry 4 dudes on his back, I'm like, he's got some power. He's too light. You got a low center of gravity, power your way forward. I bet you he'll get a 10-year NFL career, gain 15 pounds.
Latrell, that is not appropriate, sir. Latrell, I'm assuming it's a sir. Do not put this man in the Eddie Lacy category, okay? Eddie Lacy deserves his own wing in the Hall of Fame, okay? His
turn into Trent Richardson. Let's go.
Pull back one. Yes.
Eddie Lacy went from 220 to 275. 2 very different things. But I would love to see Andy do a little more I know you can't have a first 60, but honest to goodness, you can throw some repeats out there and see how they work. That's maybe the problem with having such a diversified playbook. Oh, and also, can I just say something so people are aware of this?
Sure.
If you look at the reason the last let me just double check, make sure I've got this. Other than MVS and Watson dropping the last 2 deep passes against Philly, which, by the way, those are both drops. Both of those should have been caught. It hits you in the hands. Even Justin Watson's tougher throw, Slay's coming. Move up a yard, dude. You have the space. Why did you go 3 yards past the sticks if you're not going to attack the ball? But whatever. Those are basic things that you just got to do. MVS was obvious. Besides that, though, because people are like, well, you can't do Rashee Rice, you can't do Kadarius Toney, you can't do Richie James because they're not as trusted. But I mean, look at this. Again, not on the same page. MVS spins. Watson moves inside rather than deep. MVS can't hold in the short throw. Watson flattens rather than pylon. It's not as though Watson and MVS are executing this stuff at a particularly high level. They're not. And so, man, just take a shot. Just see what happens. Let Rashee Rice run one more deep route. You let him do it against the Chargers, and you know what? He didn't get deep fast enough. He's running basically a variant of an out and up, and he didn't. He rounded it off a little and had a little too much out before he went up, and that was a bummer. But you can't just.
I was watching Justin Watson. That was also a bummer.
Yeah, and again, it's not on Justin Watson. He's made some really clutch 3rd down catches. He's done some things, but he's basically had to be their MVS this year because their MVS stopped being their MVS. That's why someone asked on Twitter, what is the very worst receiver that could guarantee the Chiefs a Super Bowl this year? And I said 2022 MVS because if he just plays like he played last year, he really can punish teams for doing this cover 0, cover 1 stuff. And that unlocks a whole plethora of dominoes to fall into place because they've got 18 guys that can execute the stuff that's 10 yards and shorter. It's let's draft another slot receiver. I don't know. I'm just throwing these things out there.
I kind of like that game. Your answer was the saddest one I've heard yet, though, of the worst receiver you could add to this roster to make them a Super Bowl champ. So Zach Eisen, we think did that. I will happily give him credit. He does. And if it's not, then I've given,
Zach Eisen.
Okay. So Zach Eisen asked that question. What would your answer to that be, Nate?
And we're talking previous years.
Just a wide receiver in football, the worst receiver in football you could put on the Chiefs roster. And you'd be like, oh yeah, they're significantly odds on favorites to win the AFC, the Super Bowl, wherever you want to draw that line. Because the guy who helped them do that last year has been sent to the shadow realm in New England, and that's already kind of hard to look at.
Yeah. Part of me wants to say Marcus Kemp because team could always use another stint of
Marcus Kemp.
Another stint of Marcus Kemp.
They already have Marcus Kemp. His name is Justin Watson.
Oh boy. Marcus Kemp would have downed that punt at the 2-yard line.
That's what I'm saying. Special teams.
Yeah, Marcus Kemp would have downed that punt,
and
then they would have gained. Hold on, let me think. 37 whole yards of field position instead of 19.
Now,
maybe it would have taken them 4 plays instead of 2. I'm really bitter this week. I'm sorry.
You really are.
Stockings behind you is such a funny vibe.
Yeah, I know. Whoops, the wrong side. No,
stockings.
Yeah.
Somebody will probably point this out, and I'm okay saying it. Marset? Amir? Amir Smith-Marset? I mean, he's on an NFL roster.
Richie James?
No. I mean, he's on the roster.
Honestly, here's the crazy thing is, like, Kadarius Toney would be a great answer for that question. If he was on the Chiefs roster, that would be interesting too.
I think the honest answer is
that was good.
If I watch this young man, he's very talented. I believe his quarterback's elbow is dust at this point. But if they had Puka Nacua,
oh my God,
child,
well, it's not like they would have had any shot to draft him. No. I mean, what am I talking about? Like anyone saw that coming.
No,
And so you really can't get mad about that stuff. It's not like there were guys who were foreseeable to be really good, like Josh Downs and T. Higgins.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like younger players at the receiver position. So Puka kind of fits that mold. Now look, guys, it took basically a year and 3 quarters. But did you see Christian Watson?
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Did you see Christian Watson?
Mm-hmm. I saw it.
I saw. I mean, this is for Times R's listeners. I had a deep, emotional love affair with Christian Watson. Only for him.
A fair way of describing it.
Only for him to fall in the second round, which I kind of predicted. Only for the Chiefs not to have a pick in that range. I think they may have tried to move up a little bit further in the second round. It didn't happen, so they obviously moved up towards the middle of the second round, I think, is how they got Sky Moore, and then they came back and got Brian Cook. But yeah.
And he was a BYU product. Someone just pointed that out in the comments. Puka Nacua.
Puka? Yeah. I mean, Puka Nacua, my
well, he's a guy who could do stuff. I'm going to just to sound.
If the Chiefs had Puka Nacua, would he be playing? Do you guys actually think he'd be playing? I'm actually curious. I think Kent had something about this of like, maybe I'm giving credit to the wrong person. I mean, if I'm giving credit to Kent, it's to the wrong person. But somebody had I think it may have been Kent, something like kind of talking about some of the wide receiver
issues.
And the idea of Andy Reid not playing young receivers being maybe a little bit of a cop out because the guys he's had who have ended up being decent at all have at least played some early on.
Right.
I still don't know what I believe about that.
Yeah,
well, his snap count has gone way up. His target count has gone.
I
know. I don't even know who to blame for that.
Right.
If I were to say I'm frustrated by anything about all of it, it's not necessarily the draft. The draft can be a crapshoot. I understand the skill set they saw with Sky Moore, and still do sometimes, honestly. I understand the skill set with Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice, as his role continues to expand, I think he's going to be a good receiver. So I get that. And sometimes you miss on guys. McCole Hardman, that was a swing for a very specific skill set.
Yeah.
These things happen. I get it.
And where did he play in college, Seth? Where did he play?
McCole Hardman, he played south of the Mason-Dixon line.
That's right, kids.
And so I think the frustrating thing for me this year, I get what they were trying to do. They kind of doubled down on last year's idea, right? In terms of, hey, Mahomes can make this work with guys with certain skill sets, with a good offensive line, et cetera. They tried to double down on it. Here's what I find really aggravating about it is by midseason, when the trade deadline was, they knew that Moore hadn't taken that next step. They knew that the eggs being in the Kadarius Toney basket weren't working out. They knew MVS, and maybe they're hoping, MVS will kind of upswing again, which, by the way, if MVS upswings just to last year's levels, a lot of these conversations aren't being had as much. But all these things are happening, and you still stand pat at the trade deadline with this defense And this iteration of Kelsey, that's where I think I get more frustrated, because I understand you're thinking about 4 years down the road. I get that. But they had options. They could have made calls. On a more happy note, look at this handsome buck right here.
Oh my goodness!
Those of you who are just listening, you guys are missing out.
Oh,
I think this is Jazz and Brad Pitt. Is that Hugh Jackman?
You know, it would be easy to believe with that strong jaw and terrific hair.
Look at
but
that gel. I mean,
let me check this out, guys. Look at this.
The gel
can't
is
even
glistening.
tell the passage of time. So everyone who's listening, I'm holding up a picture, Jazz and I's wedding day, and my beautiful wife Jazz, who actually.
Oh my God, that's you.
Yep. And this, so I'm lifting it up right now, and when you pull it down, you can barely tell the difference. It's just like it's as though I just happened to cut my hair, and that is literally the only thing that's different.
She went to bed one day, and then she woke up in 11. How many years? How many years later?
16 years ago.
16. Yeah. Yes. I mean, my goodness.
Just
that's
on a happier note. I actually, that's when I was getting distracted earlier, looking around, like, wow, there's a lot of like pictures around here, and that's one of my favorite ones. And plus, for those of you who've been listening for a while, I don't know if you know this, but man, that Jazz is a looker.
Okay.
Yeah, and the guy she's with in that picture must have had stock in LA looks.
I was a crew guy, by the way.
Oh, okay.
None of that LA looks touching these beautiful locks. It doesn't really hold up when I'm touching my current 1/4 inch of hair.
Yeah, I don't know. Your hair was looking pretty good. I don't know why you keep doing this. Get yourself a big tub of yellow hair gel and let's get back in there.
So all we're trying to prepare you all as an audience and as a viewership, God bless you for spending your day after Thanksgiving with us, is Andy Reid's going to have an immaculate, let's say dominant first 15 to first 25. They'll be up 10-0. And then the defense will be asked to do what it's been asked to do all season, which is play dominant football. L'Jarius Sneed on Devontae Adams, Chris Jones harassing Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell throwing into double coverage because he's really good at that, kids. I cannot stress you enough.
Spags, we know what Spags is going to do here.
I cannot stress enough how good Aiden O'Connell is at finding a second, perhaps a third defender. And being like, but what if it's like Madden, right? What if I just zing that thing in there? And they're like,
that guy.
And they're like, no, son, no. Hey, Aiden O'Connell, we have a timeout. We're down 7. We're at midfield. Just keep matriculating, baby. Keep matriculating. We got time. Why? Again, I know I said this last episode. Why is he throwing? That ain't even 17. Why is he throwing into double coverage? Why? We have time. What are you doing? So I look for what I'm most interested as I fly to Las Vegas tomorrow is how many times will Aiden O'Connell throw into double coverage against the Chiefs? How many times? Can it be 4? Please, 1/4. Let's make it interesting.
He is going to misidentify cover 6 as cover 3 at least
once
and throw it right into the slot corner's hands. That is going to happen, whether or not they catch it or not. But that is 1,000,000% going to happen. You're going to see a ball get whipped at Trent McDuffie's face, like he's going, it's going to be self-defense catching that thing.
So look, I know the over-unders. I know the spread. They don't deserve y'all trust. Now, I think they'll win. I think they'll win, but I'm not sure they deserve your betting trust at this point because, the Eagles were a worthy team that they respected, and they put some really nice stuff on tape for it to be, for it to crumble via execution. So I'm not expecting as strong of a game plan because it's the first matchup against the Raiders, and they play this team a month from now on Christmas. So look, maybe some things get interesting if the Raiders get up, but Josh, you know how this is going to go. They're going to be up 13-3 at half, and we'll see if they score in the second half.
And they'll be up 16-3 at the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and the defense with the Raiders getting the ball back at around let's say their own 45-yard line.
Sure.
And with the defense being asked to hold for the 5th straight drive.
Correct.
man, I'm actually very thankful this year for many
We
things.
all are.
I'm just irritable about little things that really aren't the big deal. I do want to say, having watched the Jets and Dolphins today, I said this before we started recording.
Okay.
The Chiefs offense isn't bad. It's like average-ish. Maybe a little better, sometimes
Seth,
a little worse.
The average offense scores in the second half.
That's also accurate. They score so much more in the first half that but they've generally been average-ish. Watching the Jets, I was like, this is like watching a different sport. Like it was rough.
I know.
Now,
I know this is a different game, but a different side of the sport. But today, on simultaneously, was TCU Oklahoma and Iowa Nebraska, and the TCU Oklahoma over under was 65, and the Nebraska Iowa over under was 25. OU TCU ended up over 100 total points. I don't remember the final score, and TCU Nebraska I think ended at 13-10. Or Iowa Nebraska, I don't remember, misspoke, but Iowa Nebraska hit the lowest under I've seen in ages, and TCU Oklahoma hit the highest over I've seen in a minute, in games happening simultaneously, theoretically in the same sport of American college football. So that's actually the Chiefs in the first half and the Chiefs in the second.
Yes. Wonderful points. Look,
I don't know if my connection got bad or if you guys just got bored. I couldn't tell it.
No, I didn't. No, sorry.
No, I have one bit of notes. I have one note. Okay. I don't know if people are aware of this. Let me look at his age one more time. He's 32. So, we're getting up there in age. The Chiefs, let me get the date right. Try to be a respectable journalist. A month ago, on October 24th, the Chiefs signed Mike Pennell to their practice squad. It's been a month. We know how Andy likes to, even with veterans who are coming back yet again. I know McCole Hartman got more attention because of the trade before the deadline, but the Chiefs also signed Mike Pennell to their practice squad to strengthen the middle of their defensive line.
That has 2 healthy scratches every single week.
And look, he's been on the roster for a month now, so he should know all the verbiage, all the terminology, base personnel, assignments.
He 3 healthy scratches every week for the whole line. It's just 1 DT. Anyway, sorry, Nate.
Yeah. I mean, he played.
Coburn's back.
He played 17 games last season for the Chicago Bears, being a savvy veteran in the locker room. All I'm asking is, what does he have to do to replace Matt Dickerson?
Not be Neil Farrell either, I guess.
I know. I want to tell everybody right now, Neil Farrell, BJ Thompson, Wanye Morris, those are all red shirts, okay? I didn't name Felix, but Felix might as well be a red shirt too.
He's a red shirt, yeah.
I just want to see what the difference is between Mike Pennell and Matt Dickerson, because if people forget, Matt Dickerson was D tackle 1 at training camp, and there's something to be said about a professional who doesn't get worse as the season goes along. But Seth, has Matt Dickerson gotten better as the season's gone along? Therefore, I just want to see what it's like with Mike Pennell next to, the occasional Derek Nottie snaps on first down in the second quarter.
I think we all would like to see a change there. And I'm trying to say it in a way that's not disrespectful to the current individual he's not asking to get marched out there. Hey, Dickerson, you're pretty strong against the run, right? And he's like, no, coach.
No, no, coach.
No, I'm not a double team eater. Well,
hey, coach, what snaps do I get?
Yeah.
First and second down snaps, coach. That's what
I know that's been a frustrating thing among a defense that's playing so well.
Right.
I do have a question from the comments that I feel obligated to answer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna be nothing.
From a Ms. Brisco.
Yeah. Okay. It's a bit. All right.
There. So it was observed by someone who undoubtedly has terrible children that there's 9 stockings here and I have 5 kids.
Just one terrible child.
There's actually 10 stockings here. It's kind of just a little bit a little bit kerfuffled and hard to see it. So I'm at my parents' house, and so this is all the grandchildren's stockings. They didn't love me enough to have a stocking for me when I was a child. It's so pretty tough. Pretty tough.
they gave him a bandana with an orange in it, and he was had on a stick walking around. And this is why he's such a Scrooge now. Seth's been in a terrible mood the day after Thanksgiving. He's ready to tell people to humbug off.
Yes, I'm ready. Yeah, ready to bah humbug people. But you know what? What's going to put me in a good mood in early January when I'm in sunny Florida, getting to know new friends and getting some wonderful stories.
I'm going to make sure they do not get your phone number.
Ooh. Let's review real quick. Real quick. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, their most experienced receiver, down year. Justin Watson, their second most experienced receiver, being asked to be a number one for the first time in Check's Notes' 6-year career.
Yeah. Was he even the number one receiver at his college?
Maybe.
Okay, that was too mean. I feel kind of bad about that.
Maybe.
And also, it might be true. That's why it feels bad.
McCole Hartman just got here. Sadly, just got hurt. 4, Rashee Rice, rookie. You know what you signed up for. 5, Sky Moore. More of the same. 6, Richie James. Somehow the savior by Thanksgiving. Coming back from Check's Notes knee injury. Justin Ross, training camp darling, on the exempt list.
For reasons.
For logical reasons. 8, Dontrell Washington, great special teams punt returner, hasn't been on the roster since.
Could have sworn his name is Montrell.
Dontrell, yes.
Montrell.
That's where we're all are. 9. Who's 9? Who's 9, Josh? Who's 9?
Good dude with a great lettuce. Rookie, practice squad, great head of hair.
All I'm saying is,
say Sky Moore?
I did say Sky Moore. More of the same.
Okay.
9 is Kadarius Toney.
Oh, sorry.
Someone you traded for, and guys, I named 9 receivers. Okay, 9. All right,
one of them.
And thank you. See, we're such a good podcast. We're so good at this. It's annoying how good we are at this.
You read the field. You see what's happening. You see what the defense is playing. I see what my guy is doing right there. I was just like, you know what? That guy needs me to follow close behind because he's about to pitch me that ball, and I'm going to be so ready for it. Like that, we're more like the defense. I am sitting there, and I am Brian Cook, and I'm like, this dude is going to pitch me the ball because he's crazy. Yes.
Take us home. My goodness.
I would need to see Chase Cota hit the field. I just wanted to say his name on this podcast. Also, Cornell Powell still on the practice squad also. I mean, we could spice up this rotation. How long has it been since we heard from Cornell Powell? Maybe he gets to run a few routes. Let him run a 9. Burner speed, Cornell Powell, right?
He played a couple games last season. You know, it's out. I mean, he's a viable option, some would ask, or some would say, compared to the 9 guys who have been on the field that I have said earlier. Also, your pass catcher's 34 years old, kind of beat up, and they're still triple teaming him.
Yeah,
that is the biggest indictment on
all
of you. He's older than all of you.
Combined, maybe.
He's so old. All right. He wants to start a new life with her, and they're still triple teaming him.
Yeah.
It's an indictment on all of you.
That man will play for another 4 years if you don't make his life impossible. You know, he will play as long as
he's contemplating. He's contemplating.
Help.
He told the Wall Street Journal, I might want to be with her long term. He didn't name a single one of y'all. Not a single
if he retired after this year, just on account of I'm good. If it's like Logan, like that's the late. We are in Logan territory in the Wolverine storyline.
Yeah.
If he says, no, I'm too old for this bleep. I'm tired of getting triple teamed all the time. My body hurts. I hate you all. Bye. I wouldn't blame him.
Andy Reid's giving me mean looks sometimes when I come off the field.
What?
That was our only chance. So Jason and Travis Kelce have talked before, and when Mahomes was on the podcast with them, and I think even Chris Jones they talk about the mustache. When you get the mustache move from him, I'd never actually seen him. Like, he is capable of giving that angry dad energy look. I was spooked for him. I don't know what Travis was doing. It's just
you know nothing. Why you?
Yeah, you no good rapscallion. Like,
I like no good rapscallion as a dismount. Let's give a Raiders prediction and get out of here. I got to go catch some race. I mean, freeze in the terrible cold.
I have 75 in the Gulf of Florida.
As waters just rush upon the beach.
Yeah, I'm going to go touch some sand again tomorrow for sure. But can we touch enough grass to make this game interesting? I think you guys nailed it. I was really tiptoeing around, an 8.5. Like, of course they're gonna. I mean, it's the Raiders. This Raiders team isn't very good. I think that Steve Spagnuolo is going to liquefy Aiden O'Connell until there's no longer a benefit to it, and then eventually just run the Madden plays and let's get out of here. And then I think the Chiefs offense is going to try for a little bit and then run the Madden plays, and then we're all just going to be very sad at the end. Here's my one actual prediction. I'm not looking at the lines. I haven't seen anything. I feel like MVS is getting like 3 targets in the first half. Like I think this is I will throw it to you if I have to jam it in your face mask. I'm going to build some confidence, even if it's angry confidence.
Yeah.
I'm gonna God, man, I'm so sad saying this out loud. I'm gonna say 20 to
Give
10.
it to me.
20 to 10. I wanted to give him 13, but I honestly don't believe in it. I'll say Chiefs win by 10. You will not catch me touching that spread, because just as easily could be 20 to 17 or 20 to 30. It will not be stressful in the fourth quarter, but man, it might be frustrating again. So I'll say 20 to 10 Chiefs.
I am channeling different energy. I've decided I've been grumpy this whole podcast, but the appearance of my mom and your mom, I mean, it has lifted my spirits. This is it. This is the game that they set us up to be hurt again. The offense. This is the game we're like, they figured it out. Thank God. Only for them to score 16.
20 to the Bills. Week. Yeah. Yep. The Bills game is when the offense will stop again.
I forgot about that. I'm going to be there.
Anyway, real game left, I think.
This is, what? 28, 31, 34. Chiefs 37, Raiders 10.
What does he do?
They just old school. Everyone's mad.
Hold on. I'm looking at the curtain. It's raining gumdrops. This is awesome. What a fairy tale.
Why does he do this?
37, Seth?
He said
you gotta
37.
Believe.
If the Chiefs score 37 on Sunday, you can tase me. A thing you still need to do.
Right. I'm gonna say Chiefs 20, Raiders 16. A lovely backdoor cover touchdown by Aiden O'Connell. I mean, gorgeous.
That's perfect.
I mean,
so everyone's mad.
Yeah, it'll be 20. It'll be 20 to 9. You've all been there. Then they're gonna score a touchdown. Maybe they go for 2, but all right, maybe I should say 20-15. Maybe they go for 2 and they don't get it.
I love that. And also, Nate, you and I both have the game having fewer points than Seth thinks the Chiefs will score.
Yep. Because apparently Seth watches all the all 22 and says they're somehow able to get 40 out of it.
All they need to do is hit on 2 of these deep shots. Just 2 of them.
Absolutely. They should have had 2 more touchdowns against the Eagles.
I love White Bacon's comment here. 37
stats in a row. Seth, read your own legal pad, sir. Until I see it.
I can't.
You can't. No one can.
Until they complete a deep pass, they're gonna be in the 20s because the game's gonna take too long. They're gonna have to matriculate down the ball down the field. Also, another stat for people to keep in mind: the Raiders do get turnovers, and the Chiefs do give them. So the Chiefs have been in one game this year. There's only been one game this year, kids, where the Chiefs have not turned over the football. 1. They've played 10 of those. And the Raiders get turnovers. That's one of the benefits this year from what they were last year, is they actually do generate more turnovers now. It's a benefit of having Marcus Peters on your team. But yeah, if the Chiefs don't turn the ball over, then sure, maybe they could score 37. But we have 10 games that says they will give the ball to the Raiders at least once.
I felt pretty good about just what has really worked well for me in the prediction business is I'm going to keep picking the Chiefs to hold teams at 24 or less every single week until they break it, because I really believe in that. I'm not going to pick the Chiefs to score 30 until there's something that encourages me that way. But, I'm in the show me state. I'm not. I'm in the sunflower or the sunshine state, Seth. What's Minnesota called?
The land of 10,000 lakes.
Oh, that makes sense.
And it's a beautiful place 6 months out of the year. This ain't one of those months.
Florida, I think, is only beautiful like 8 months out of the year, and then the other 4 is also kind of unpleasant in a different way. So, you just got to get your little summer home situation.
You walk outside and go,
you need like gills. I need gills. Well, we'll be back on Monday if the Chiefs score 10 or 30 or whatever. We'll have a show for you. So we will be back around then. I think everyone said everything they needed to say. So Nate, you can get us out of here. Seth's leaving.
Wow, incredible. So once again, if you're listening, if you're watching, thank you so much for this lovely, second dish for Thanksgiving. We couldn't.
These are leftovers for sure.
Yeah, we couldn't do this without you all. This is a very heartfelt one. While Seth is already gone, he's here, but I don't.
Are you in runner's blocks right now? What's going on?
I'm old and my knees hurt. Have
you been doing this show from your knees? Remember when I asked if we could do this show in 50 minutes this week?
Yeah.
What was that, like an hour and a half ago? Yeah. Nate, take us out. I'm gonna stop doing things.
You can only look, guys. You can only do so much with stuffing. You gotta let it go, baby. You gotta let it go. Stuffing after the second day is unnecessary. You're doing too much to your body. All right. I know that's unusual for Seth to hear, and I know we didn't get into our usual Thanksgiving, misgivings, but here we are. Let the stuffing go. Let it go. If you want to get upset with me, that's fine. Have yourself 20 more turkey sandwiches, but I'm here to tell stuffing that you're really kind of a one-day dish, and that's fine.
This is the most controversial thing that's ever come from this show, and Seth and I do not endorse this comment. I can tell by his facial expression.
It was today that I learned that Nate hates America and everything it stands for.
You only learned that today?
I think I need to take a minute. Stuffing?
Yeah, man.
Stuffing is okay. No, that's fine.
I mean, it's just wet bread. Why can't you heat up wet bread again? It's just tasty wet bread.
Yeah, and then you heat it up in the microwave, it gets wetter, which is kind of a weird thing about microwaves. It just gets
guys.
If you want the crispy bits, put it on a sheet pan, put it in your toaster oven or something. I don't know. Do you mean like the turkey guts, like the actual, just like its gizzards and stuff? Because that seems gross.
Guys,
does Holly know about this?
Yeah. Great question. Look,
did she before you got married?
Clearly not. Look, I don't know if it's the. I don't know, but I don't need it anymore. It was fine. It was fine. But there's so other, like, you got greens, you got mashed potatoes, you got yams, you got the rolls, you got everything else. The corn casserole, baby.
You're passing up on stuffing?
Yeah,
because of corn.
I love corn. Don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Renee's been getting real wacky with the corn casserole.
Jason just came downstairs to pop his head and go, Nate, good. Take it back.
Yeah, you got to, man. You got to. People can hear this, man. This is crazy.
Wow, I didn't know it was gonna. Look,
this is really controversial.
Jason's a big dude, man. I'd be careful.
Look, I said, wow. Now I'm gonna sound like a crazy person, but that's fine. That's fine. Really, the day two's for pie. We all know this. Let's not.
Oh, I've definitely had 2 types of pie today. Look, we can all agree on some things.
Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't know that I had such a take that the record actually scratched off the machine. Wow. Okay. Whoa.
I half think either Tucker has given up on us completely, or he actually is just letting this just drag out.
Well, this could be the behind the music of like when this show finally went off the rails. Like we were able to survive a lot, but as soon as we started sharing Thanksgiving takes, I just think everyone has a responsibility to try a little bit of everything the first time around. I just think that's what life's all about, you know?
Yeah.
Usually I'm good at this, but man, that was bad. I'm sorry, guys.
Look, it's okay.
No,
it's your take. I was just alarmed by it. I've never heard anybody.
Don't need stuff.
Don't worry about it. You remember the time I went like this? You know, we all do.
That was funny.
Stuffing's just a one-day dish. It's fine. You know.
Are you not having the right kind of stuffing?
Look,
or did someone hurt you?
Don't. Okay, I know what you're doing. Don't try to insinuate that I am putting a family member under the bus. Okay, when it comes to Thanksgiving meals, I am Andy Reid, and you know what? They're gonna cook it. You know, I've seen them cook it well before. They're gonna cook it well again. You know, I'm not gonna put anybody under the bus. And
look in the chat right now. Don't make stuffing your number one. Stuffing is the Justin Watson of Thanksgiving dishes. I'm okay with some of that. I'm not.
That's what I'm trying to say.
90% of my plate will not be stuffing. But day two, if I'm putting potatoes, I'm putting turkey, I'm putting stuffing all there together. I'm microwaving that whole little mess and just dousing the whole thing with gravy. It's delicious.
I really think that
you're picking stuffing over green beans.
I mean, no, green bean casserole is my 1-1. That's been
well. You got to understand, I'm in Minnesota, so I'm legally obligated to not just eat a pound of mashed potatoes, but there's always going to be at least 2 gigantic things of cheesy potatoes. Which it's like,
thank you, white.
Yeah,
bacon.
And yeah, geez.
Here's what I'm going to tell everybody to do: go to your local Walmart and buy as many Patti LaBelle sweet potato pies as they'll sling you on the day after Thanksgiving. Okay, no one puts together a B roll level pie than Patti LaBelle. You know, so really, my plate would be turkey. Maybe a little potatoes, maybe a little corn, a lot of yams, a lot of sweet potatoes, maybe a pumpkin pie too. It's just I just don't need stuffing. Stuffing is a innings eater on Thanksgiving, and then we don't need them for the rest of the year.
Stuffing is the one dish in the world that the very cheapest version of it is the best.
Correct.
I mean, you gotta respect that. I would eat stovetop stuffing for every meal for like a week. Probably not like.
Yes, thank you.
It's seasonal. I want it to be seasonal. I want to eat it 3 days in a row around Thanksgiving, though. I want for like 11 months. I'll forget about it.
So I'm eating Patti LaBelle while Dolly Parton is in that outfit. Lord, what year is it?
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.